All right, everybody, what's up? It is Mindset Monday. I'm Trey Griggs here with Beta Consulting Group and excited to have you with us today for episode 5 of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership powered by Beta Consulting Group. To learn more about us, visit betaconsultinggroup.com to see all the services we offer. We're the sales and marketing strategists that you never knew that you wanted. All right, let's bring on today's guest, a good friend of mine. Man, I've known this guy for a while, and talk about energy and positivity. He's probably one of the nicest salesmen that you'd ever meet. This is the kind of guy that you want to have walk into your business and try to sell you something because it's going to be pleasant no matter what. So excited to have my friend Jamin Alvidrez on the show. Jamin, what's up, brother, man? How you doing?
Hey, quite the introduction. Thank you very much, Trey.
Well, I mean, well deserved. I probably should have gone a little further than that. I mean, when I think about, somebody who is positive, who's encouraging, who is looking out for the best interest of everybody else around him, you're the first person that comes to mind. I hope you know that. So I'm really excited that you're on the show today. We can talk a little bit about sales and what you do and all that. So why don't you give a quick introduction for everybody so they can know who you are?
Absolutely. So what I do is I work at Sethmar Transportation, 3PL services. And like you said, I'm a sales guy, basically, just trying to see how I can help and really make that, we talk about the consultative sale, but make that a real thing and really bring simple real world solutions to your freight and logistics needs. Now, who I am is father of 3. I got a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So as you and I were talking, I'm in the thick of it.
No doubt.
And I've always appreciated talking to you about family matters, as especially my daughter's getting older, learning from your experiences, and so I appreciate that you're always willing to share those. So
hey, that's the smart way to do it. My dad used to always say that there's 2 ways you can learn in life, and one is more painful. And so, you can learn from other people, you can learn from your own mistakes. So, the more that I can share and the more that I can learn from other people, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, so I'd say that's the bulk of who I am right now in this moment as a dad. And I live in Southern California, so that's my perspective in the world there. And I am just really right now traveling around a lot more. I'm happy as people are getting more comfortable and coming together, and things are, we'll say, opening up, for lack of a cooler way to say it. Now I'm back on the road, a road dog.
Yeah, well, at least you have that Southern Cal. You got right by the beach. Take the kids there. Let them play around. So I'm sure that helps out quite a bit. See, in the Midwest, when it's cold, like right now, you're kind of stuck inside, man. It's hard to get outside unless it's snowing. The kids don't want to go outside. So it's nice being in that Southern Cal weather, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's nice to have a spot to let the kids tire themselves out. I lived in Kansas City for quite a while. Have extreme love for the Midwest, and I just remember when it was cold or even too hot, IKEA was the spot I would set them loose.
Right,
so I'm
walk
sorry,
around.
I would unleash 3-year-olds just run around, looking for big open spaces any way you can find them.
See, IKEA thought they were doing something genius by creating the path that you have to shop through, but really it's just mass chaos for people with small kids. I remember the one thing I love about IKEA, I will say this, because we went to IKEA when we lived out in Portland. We had small kids at the time. I did love the fact that IKEA had babysitting on site. So there were times where we would go, we just needed a little bit of alone time, some adult conversation time. We'd take the kids to IKEA, we'd check them in, and then we'd walk around a little bit. And we weren't even going to buy anything. We just wanted to walk and talk and not to think about it. So shout out to IKEA. Much love.
Yeah, genius. And hey, no spoiler alerts, but as we're going to talk about empathy later. Like just even the layout or certain services provided that I didn't even know I needed at a furniture store. For empathetic mood.
No doubt. IKEA is the one place where you don't have to yell at your kids, get off of that couch. We're not buying that. Stop touching that lamp. All that stuff. So
accurate.
No, that's good. That's awesome. Well, let's dive in a little bit, man, because I've had a chance to talk. First of all, I want to ask about that sign that's behind you there. About adapt and thrive. So I want to hear about that a little bit.
Yeah, really, that's my mindset. That's something that has helped me both in my life and career, and I try to keep that top of mind. Everything I do, from, like we were just talking, from whether it be parenting to being a salesperson in logistics. I just found a small tweak, especially as we're going through so many changes so quickly. The phrase gets thrown around a lot: adapt or die. And that becomes very scary. Like, okay, I need to adopt this new technology. I need to learn this new way of communicating and interacting, or I'm going to die. Not literally, but that's how it was thrown around. And when I'm scared or nervous about making changes or learning something new, I personally am terrible at it. I usually don't adopt it the same way. I don't learn it the same way, and I'm just not effective. So
Yeah.
something that I had to do very selfishly is just reframe as we went through changes or things speed up or new technologies come on board or whatever it may be. Uh, to wait a second, I can roll with this. I can adapt. Oh, and thrive. Like, so this can be a really good thing. It's not going to be some sort of negative thing held over my head. So I just try to get that on my brain as much as I can. I write it on top of all my paperwork or my chalkboard, really as a reminder to myself to keep that uh, mindset positive. That adapting or making changes doesn't have to stink or be scary. Even though it can be scary, but you just you take that approach of, no, we're going to do this and we're going to learn this and do it right so we can thrive. So that's
Man,
what's
that is so good. There's so much there to unpack. I mean, first of all, the idea of fear, and how do you work within fear? I mean, fear can be a very positive thing. Obviously, it can keep you safe. I mean, fear is a good emotion to have, but sometimes we let fear dictate situations that it really shouldn't, or to creep doubt into our minds when it shouldn't. I mean, I often refer to this as Mindset Monday, right? I got to get our mind right for the week. And I love the fact that you talk about, let's remove the fear. I mean, you're so positive, which is just incredibly awesome. And you think about, the idea of fear. You think about how to change your mindset and the positivity that surrounds that, and what that does for you throughout the week. That's so important, especially from a sales perspective. I think that they always talk about the carrot and the stick and how people respond to that. I think in general, humans in general respond to the carrot. They respond to working towards something, not working away from something. Anytime you do something out of fear, it usually isn't positive. And so I love the fact that you're reframing that. You're talking to yourself. Self-talk is so important. People don't realize how important it is, right? You
huge.
gotta put, if you're not going to believe in yourself, who will? You might be the only one that day that believes in yourself. I'm going to tell you a quick story and then I'm going to have you talk. I've struggled with confidence my whole life. It's just been a struggle. There's a whole story behind it, whatnot. But the thing I learned through counseling and through just becoming self-aware of myself and all those types of things is that when that emotion creeps in, that kind of doubt, I can't do this, and it's usually a fear, like I'm afraid, like I'm overwhelmed. I don't think I can pull this off. What I literally do is I go in front of the mirror, I look myself in the eyes, and I say, "No, you got this. You got to keep going." And then I literally turn and walk away, and I don't think about it again. And it's like, sometimes you need that, right? You need somebody to tell you got this. And sometimes it has to be you. And so I love the fact that you're taking that and you're reframing it based upon, what works for you. And that's so critical. So that's awesome, man.
I could not agree with you more. I struggle with some of the same things, and something that really clicked for me is seeing. I love sports of all types, and anytime I watch a documentary or interview or something, and it really clicks through with very specifically Michael Jordan, and they talk about the way he talked to himself, even almost literally making up stories or conflicts to burn himself on. I was like, that's self-taught. That self-talk and the stories we tell ourselves
Yeah.
thinking matter. So I was like, I got to be better at that. So I'm just trying to do that.
That was in The Last Dance, I think, that documentary. I just started watching
Yeah.
that again. I'm on episode 2 now. I mean, that is such a good documentary, and the mindset, that goes into it. You think about, MJ, you think about Kobe. They just had a different mindset about them, and it manifests itself in different behaviors, which manifests itself in different results, which was awesome. So I love that. All right, cool. Let's transition. I want to talk about a couple things real quick. So we talked about this offline. I think that you and I have talked about it several times, and it's the idea that authenticity is really critical for to be effective in sales, to be authentic. Let's talk about that and empathy and how they work together, not only to be successful in sales, but how they impact the sales process. When you think of authentic as a salesperson or just as a person in general, what comes to mind? What do you think about, and why do you think that's so critical?
I believe really it's two parts. First, just as a human, when you're being yourself, being authentic and not playing a part, but actually showing up as who you are, it's just more relaxing, more enjoyable, able to handle stresses more. You just less wasted energy on trying to be something or to feel like you have to overcompensate. More energy you could put into yourself, to the customer, the situation, whatever it may be. So first and foremost, as a human, I firmly believe it alleviates things like, which in sales is very real, very specifically burnout. Secondly, talking about the sales piece and being an effective salesperson, man, it shines through. I think sometimes we think, or I know I have at different points thinking that, oh, hey, if I'm this version of a salesperson, I can, and I don't mean this maliciously, but fool people or try to sell them on this by being a certain way that just isn't authentic to me. And whether we even realize it or not, on some level, we all sniff that out. And it's just not the experience of dealing with someone who's approaching us not being authentic. It just, even if you can't pinpoint, it feels off. So I feel like it makes you a less effective salesperson. I said two, but I'm about to put a third in there, which is
Drop it. Let's go.
a sales guy thing to do, right? No, also, as cheese balls it may sound, you and your true personality, who you very specifically are, that actually is the only true competitive advantage that can't be replicated out there. So if you're not leveraging that, then missing just a beautiful opportunity.
Oh, that is so good. I mean, think about that. There is no other Jamin in the world. Like you're the only one that can be this
Thank God.
authentic Jamin, right? Like no one else can be you, and that is just awesome. I love to hear that. And the second point that you talked about was that, oh gosh, I just lost my train of thought. This is what happens when you're live. Like you don't know, right? What are we talking about?
Yeah, well, ultimately, I'd say if I had to put a heading on it, how to avoid burnout and just be a refreshed salesperson is not wasting energy on trying to be a certain type of salesman or putting on any kind of facade. It's just really wasted energy.
That's so good. And that's what, and by the way, this is what happens when you go live, folks. It doesn't always turn out the way you think it's going to be, but you just got to throw yourself out there. You got to do it. Don't be afraid to do it, So that's kind of the way it goes. So let's transition a little bit to empathy. We talked about IKEA, about them thinking about parents when they think about the shopping. Obviously, otherwise you don't put in a babysitting facility in your store.
Yeah.
Right? There's other instances of this where people are a little more empathetic in terms of how they're selling or what they're offering. Empathy is something that I think Gary Vee has really made popular in the last 2 years. You and I both follow Gary Vaynerchuk and listen to what he has to say. And it's interesting because, again, a lot of times, especially in sales, people say, "Oh, it's cutthroat," and it's you gotta eat what you hunt or eat what you kill. If you don't kill anything, you don't eat, those types of things. And there's some truth to that for sure. But from an empathetic standpoint, as a salesperson, I always think of myself, I'm the tip of the spear for the company. I am the first impression for the company. I am the brand for the company. When people say, Seth Mar Transportation and they think Jamin, what do they think? That's the brand, right? Then you're responsible for that. And so empathy plays a big role in that. Let's talk a little bit about empathy in the sales process. What does that look like sometimes in your processes, and how does that impact sales?
Yeah, I believe empathy is huge, like you alluded to. All credit to Gary Vee for a lot of my mindset on this matter. He's great.
I just want to bump into that guy on the streets one time. He's got the camera rolling, tell him thank you.
I would fanboy, like I don't even know how. Like I'm sweating just thinking about it. I don't even know. I won't even try to act tough.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyways, keep going.
Yeah, no. I think of it as it's not a weak quality or letting letting everyone go first and standing back. It's truly thinking about those that you're trying to, whether it be work with, sell to, engage with, and what are their very real human thoughts, feelings, challenges, and then seeing how you can fit in to help that, or maybe to alleviate something, or to bring a solution, or sometimes realizing I'm not the one who's best set up to help you with this. So not try to just sell your way in, but still say, hey, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? And maybe direct them somewhere else. Just knowing that the world is so abundant, opportunities are so abundant, that I firmly believe if that's how you engage with people with empathy, engage them as just a real person, just like you and I, that there'll be plenty of sales to go around. You don't have to stress about closing every sale or trying to force yourself into every situation. So having that empathetic mindset and seeing those who I'm approaching as real people with weaknesses and fears and talents, the same way I am at times. That helps me with my abundance mindset, and to really just be more effective, be more human.
Yeah, and I think it manifests itself in a couple of ways, having empathy for a prospect or a customer. I mean, first of all, like you alluded to, you might not be the best solution for their problem. And to be able to say that and to walk away knowing that you're not going to get anything for it, that person's going to remember that, especially if you do know the solution. Like maybe, Seth Mars not the solution, but maybe someone else is in the industry that and you connect them, they're going to remember that. I mean, how many salespeople do that, right? I mean, that's huge. And then I think the second way that it manifests itself is, like you said, just understanding that they're a person. They might be having a bad day. They might be overworked and underpaid, and you don't know that. They might have a situation at home they're dealing with. They might be going through a divorce. They may have a kid who's in the hospital. They might have all kinds of circumstances or situations that disrupt your sales process. It's not that they're ignoring you. It's not that they're not interested. It's not that they don't want to buy. They just might have life going on, right? And the more that you can just be empathetic to that or understand that, hey, you know what? It took me a long time to get an appointment scheduled because this woman is very busy. It just happens to be that way. It might not happen right away. Like I may have to stay on a little bit more, but be patient and just know that this sales cycle might go longer than what we would like because of the situation. I think those things are so critical because as you said, people buy from people. And this is the point I was going to make earlier. People, especially buyers, can sniff out BS so easily, right? And sniff out that inauthentic person. So having empathy for somebody, just recognizing the situation they're going through. One of the things I love to do on a sales call, this is kind of weird, but I like it. Sometimes before we even start talking, I'll just say, how you guys doing today? How's everything going? And just ask them, how's life? What else? What's going on in their life? And sometimes people might not be ready for that question, but it's because I do want to see just how are you doing? How are things going? What am I walking into today? Or I might say it at the end, everything else good? You guys doing all right? And just try to build that relationship and have genuine care and concern for someone else, which I think is huge.
Yeah, I like that, and what I appreciate, I've seen you do that as you stop and listen. That's always the key, right? To ask the question, but then genuinely want to listen, and that is something you deploy great. I've seen you do it, and it's effective. I think that's great.
I appreciate that. I hope my wife would also echo those comments. I don't know. We'll have to,
Might be the true
have
test.
to get her on here and see if she would say the same thing. I don't know, but I appreciate that, man. It's something that, everybody likes to be heard, and everybody likes to know that somebody's listening and paying attention. And so it's like you always got to think about. I mean, it's kind of the golden rule. Just thinking about it in the way of listening. Like, how would I want to be listened to? It's like when you're giving donations, how would you want to receive? Would you want somebody to bless you abundantly? Well, then you should give abundantly, right? I mean, those things are the things that make a huge impact. So I appreciate you saying that. All right, let's chat about this real quick. So you're a road warrior, as they say. I mean, you're out on the road. Like, how often are you hitting the road? What's your schedule?
I'd say I'm hitting the road. I'll go out. So I'm fortunate to be in Southern California from the standpoint of there's a lot of those I work with have offices, warehouses in the Southern California area. So I'll go out weekly to get FaceTime with different people. But as far as getting on a plane or doing a longer drive, I try to be out about 1 week a month.
Okay. How many nights are you staying in a hotel, per month? What's like kind of your average of if you looked at, February, January, March, coming up, how many nights are you not at home?
I would say I spend in a hotel on average, if you average out the year. Now, there's definite traveling seasons that are compact more, but anywhere from 5 to 8 or 9 nights a month.
So I mean, it's a decent amount that you're, hitting the road, that you're not sleeping in your own bed. What are some things? So this is a practical for all the sales guys out there, because I've been a road warrior as well. I've hit the road a lot and been traveling a lot, and 3 days here, 5 days there, sometimes 9 days I've been on the road before. What are some tips that you have for the road warriors out there to make life on the road a little bit better?
Yeah, for me, it's having a routine. Now, obviously, based on what meeting times you have or what the situation is, it have to be altered a little bit. But I try to have touch points throughout my day that are consistent. One of them being a workout, and even if it's not necessarily strenuous, I've started to really try to do a workout outside. So even if it's just taking a 45-minute walk or whatever it may be, something to sort of to ground you a little bit and to be a consistent touch point throughout the day. So I'd say doing something active and outside, if it's possible, has really helped me. And then not cramming my schedule too tight, leaving room for spontaneity, leaving room for even, to be able to recharge, especially on those trips where you're going out multiple days. I've found that to be very huge. So yeah, those are two things that have really helped me not burn out as a road dog.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so important, to figure out kind of who you are and what works for you. Are you a morning workout guy, afternoon, or do you just try to get it in at some point?
I tend to be afternoon. I like to do the afternoon morning. Sometimes, like I'm trying. Like I won't front that it happens all the time, but something that I've incorporated this year that's working is like do morning walk outside, like use 30 minutes or something.
Oh,
Do
you're
a
in Southern
walk,
Cal. I mean, you should. You
yeah,
know,
and then work out later, and that's been something that is effective for me. You get the
nice,
benefit of the outdoors, uh, and then get a sweat in there, get the perspective of pushing.
nice. I like that. Let me give you my couple of my tips for being on the road
Yeah,
as well. So this has been a long time coming, but what I started to find was that if I was on the road for more than 3 days, and if I was at a hotel with a bad pillow, I couldn't sleep. And after 2 or 3 days of that, I mean, I was a zombie. I couldn't function very well. And what I found was this: is that a bad bed with a good pillow, I can sleep. A good bed with a bad pillow, I can't sleep. So I literally, Jamie, take my pillow with me on the road now. It's in my suitcase. I pack it. I take it with me. So no matter what bed I get, I feel in many ways like I'm sleeping at home because I got my pillow. It's got some comfort to it. It's the exact same for my head, my neck. Like it's so important to get good sleep. People don't realize the value of good sleep. So I take my pillow with me on the road. It's absolutely changed my life, completely changed my life in ways that I can't even put into perspective, like how different it is to go on the road and get good sleep. So that's my number one key right there. Number two, and this, you being a West Coast guy, see, I'm a Midwest guy. I'm in St. Louis, but you being a West Coast guy, you deal with this probably more than I do, but it's the time zone change. It's like,
yeah,
how do you impact the time zone change? And what I found to be successful, especially if it's 3 days or less, is that I just don't change the time. Like I don't act as if it's any different. I don't get used to the time zone to do that, and that's been really effective. Just to get up at the same time. So if I'm getting up I'm a 7 a.m. wake, 6:30 to 7. That's kind of when I wake up. I'm not a morning person, so 6:30 to 7. That's me. So if I were to go to the East Coast, it's 5:30 to 6 that I'm waking up. Like I'm not waking up 6:30 to 7. I'm not getting used to that schedule. I'm staying on my schedule, and that actually helps my body quite a bit. The West Coast is the hardest one for me because you got 2 hours, and now I go to bed at I don't know, 10 o'clock, 10:30, and so I'm trying to go to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock on the West Coast. That's brutal sometimes, especially if you're at a conference. That's really, really tough to do. But that's been a really big help for me on the road, is taking my pillow and then not letting the time change really impact my schedule unless it's significant. If it's 4 days or more, I might change just because it's hard
yeah.
not to. But anything under that, I don't do that. So those are a couple tips I've had. And I don't know if you've ever done any of those, or maybe you'll do them on your next trip, see how they work out.
I'm gonna try the pillow. I think it's clutch what you're saying, and
Change your life.
remember, as even salespeople that don't try, whatever we're doing as a salesperson, I firmly believe, because I've seen it, I've started to feel it myself when I mismanage how I approach the sales job. Burnout is such a real thing. This is a
Mhm.
beautiful career, lucrative career when you do it long term. If you mismanage it, it can really get over top of you. So doing those little, uh, I'm not even necessarily saying they're little, but just these self-care things, being
Yeah,
self-aware of making sure you get enough sleep, recharging, not going into zombie mode, staying
no doubt.
staying who you are. I think those
Here's
are
some interesting things I've learned recently. Studies have shown that after 48 hours of work within a 7 day period, you're significantly less productive. And a lot of times we're born to believe that we got to work 60, 70 hours a week to get things done. And maybe some people will want to do that or whatever. But if you think about managing your time and being really, really efficient with your time and only working 40, 45, 50 hours max a week, then you're going to have time to go do those other things. And it's hard for salespeople because it's hard to turn it off. Like we don't want to turn it off. We want to make another sale. We want to make another call. We want to send another email. Something pops up. We want to get it done. Like being able to really manage your time and taking care of the things that are really important. Like I think sleep is the number one thing that's important. People don't realize the value of regenerative sleep. When you sleep 7 to 8 hours a night and your body gets a chance to refresh and you wake up, without having to throw in an energy drink or a bunch of coffee, you can just wake up and go. Like that is huge. When you're working out, I'm telling you, when you feel fit, your mind is more like you feel more confident in what you're doing. I remember when I was my first sales job out in Portland, Oregon, at DAT back in 2012, I weighed 196 pounds when I took that job. I'm only 5'8", so you guys can do the math. That's not a good BMI. And then my wife and I got on this kick where we lost a bunch of weight and we got healthy. I got down to like 155, and then I started working out again. I got to 160, and I felt like I was back in high school. Like that kind of just I couldn't believe how good I felt. And what was interesting is that if you look at my sales during that time, they skyrocketed as I started to get into shape. Because when you like when you feel good physically and you're on point mentally, you tend to do better. You tend to have more confidence and be more authentic, and it just changes everything. So for me, doing those little things of like getting good sleep, eating healthy, working out, reading or consuming good information, positive, whether it be podcasts or books, those things are critical to being a successful salesperson. I mean, people don't think about that, but those things play a huge role in being successful in sales. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. What's the old adage? Look good, feel good, play good.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, yeah. It matters. It's just, again, not to belabor the point, but I think you're so spot on. Of as a as a salesperson, you are the main tool, and so you want to keep that tool sharp and dialed in and
Without a
clear
doubt. Yep.
as possible and refreshed. So investing in keeping yourself refreshed and healthy and feeling uh,
Huge.
fit is everything.
Absolutely huge. Hey, speaking of being fit, I got a good workout in this morning. I don't know if you've heard or not, but I'm prepping for the Word on the Street Tough Mudder Charity Challenge, which is coming up April 30th here in St. Louis. We're doing a 9-mile Tough Mudder with 30 obstacles. Our team, I think we have about 7 people on the team right now. It's growing. We're adding some people, which is great. But the best part, Jamin, and I just want to talk about this for a minute, then we'll get back to you real quick, is we're raising money for wounded veterans. I'm so excited about this. I know you have a passion for the military and just for the freedom that we have because of what they've done just to protect and preserve. My buddy Jeff Combs, a wounded veteran, he's paralyzed from the waist down. And what he does is he takes other wounded veterans on shooting drills and just fun outings where they can be together. And we're looking to raise money. We're looking to raise $100,000. It's a huge goal, but that provides 25 of these shooting events because they're about $4,000 per event to put on. It's completely voluntarily that they do this. They don't get paid for this. They just want to go and do it. And so we're trying to help them out. So really excited about that. Hoping people will go, to betaconsultinggroup.com/events, see that and participate. And man, it's just going to be awesome. So, I got a purpose to work out now, which is just making me feel even better, which is great. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun.
Wild.
Yeah, it's going to be good. All right. So we got just a few minutes left. I want to talk to you about the future of sales. 60 seconds. Where do you think this is going? What does sales looks like in 5 years? What do you think?
I think we're going to be a lot more effective in understanding where our time is going. So I think sales is going to be less of a volume game and more of, and I think we're already kind of getting there, but I think we're really maturing in what our pitch to hit is, if you will, and have a better understanding that and a better blend of technology and how to leverage technology, but then still bringing that creativity. The danger is with anything is we can go a little ditch to ditch. And I think in sales, in the short past term, we've gone a little to the just almost straight sales or straight just the old school way. And I think we're going to have a better understanding and a better marriage and blend of the two so that we can be directing our blows a little better and a little more effectively. So I'm pumped about that.
I like that phrase, ditch to ditch. That's like extreme to extreme, right? I mean, that's a good picture. You don't want to fall in the ditch on one side or the other, kind of stay with the balance. I do think technology is providing us with opportunities to be more efficient, to understand our time better. I literally couldn't live without a digital calendar. I mean, that has saved my career, is being able to put things on a calendar and be reminded and not have to hold it in my brain so much.
Yeah.
But be able just to get it out there using I use Office Online and just being able to organize files, organizing information, so critical. But also just the the ease with which we can follow up, we can create content, we can message, and think about this: guys like you and I can create a brand for ourselves, which is crazy. Like, you don't have to be a big marketing machine to do it anymore. You just have to be consistent with content and putting it out there, which I'm hoping, by the way, we see some more Jamin content out there because, you put a lot of great stuff out there in the past. I know you went on a little bit of a break recently, but I hope you come back and start putting your thoughts on the line because they're so good, my friend.
I appreciate it. And I'm so pumped for this daily show. Grateful that you had me on, and man, just as a fan, I'm fired up to see this journey.
I appreciate that. We're going to have to come back. I hope you will. I did find out midstream that LinkedIn was not carrying it live. They've got a problem with their service. LinkedIn does. So hopefully it's back up. So we'll put the full version out there for everybody to watch. But we'll have you come back again so that you can interact with those that are watching, the comments that are in the feed, which we didn't get today, but we'll get those next week. So I'm hoping that you'll come back maybe April, May. We'll get another round in with you on here. But thank you for the encouragement and for the support. Really appreciate that, man.
Anytime. Thank you.
All right. So real quick, we're going to talk about tomorrow's show. Be sure to come back 10:30 a.m. tomorrow when I get a chance to talk to my good friend, Nick Strober, about what it's like to be the top performer and a whale hunter right here on episode 6 of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership powered by Beta Consulting Group. Be sure to visit betaconsultinggroup.com to learn about our services and make sure you come back tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.